There's no way they're actually going to do this, but Matt Ishbia and the Phoenix Suns could be looking at a new head coach from this new report, as we could see that the Suns may be in favor of looking to get that carousel going to keep these two stars and Devin Booker and Kevin Durant happy. And that could be the end for coach Mike Budenholzer, as the Suns could be looking for their fourth head coach in 4 seasons. And is that something good the Suns want to be doing? We'll be discussing that. Plus, we'll be getting into some injury reports around this Suns team, all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support on the channel, which has been super appreciative over these last couple of weeks, which you guys have been giving us your love in the comment section and the likes and hitting the subscribe button, so I really do appreciate it. Make sure if you want to stay up to date on everything regarding around the Suns that you do hit the subscribe button, as we have daily uploads coming on here, and we have those weekly live streams every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Without further ado, though, let's dive in and let's get into this Phoenix Suns news. And first, we're going to be looking at some injury reports and some injury updates regarding around this Phoenix Suns team. As we saw in their latest contest, the Suns were without once again one of their big three stars, and something that is going to be happening for the foreseeable future. As we see from Gerald Bourguet that Mike Budenholzer said before this game that Bradley Beal will be out at least for 1 week, and then he will be reevaluated. And we've seen with Bradley Beal, he's had these injury concerns throughout the season. He's been, coming back for games, then being out, playing in games when he so quote unquote is healthy, but may or may not be healthy, and then re-injuring himself once again. And that's been something that has been a little bit of a dilemma with Bradley Beal this season, as he has been, when he has been available and has been healthy, he has looked solid in this rotation, but it has also been very limited when he has been able to stay healthy due to the fact he's had some sporadic injuries, not only just this season, but also dating back to last season as well, when the Phoenix Suns acquired him. And that's another thing that also hinders with his no trade clause and the $50 million that he makes at the player that he presents. And we had Mike Budenholzer give us a little bit of an update as well regarding around this situation, talking about this with Grayson Allen and his injury. As I said, they're still hopeful that we'll see how he does each day, continuing to go through his rehab, and hopefully he makes progress. Allen was doubtful heading into the contest and did not suit up, and then said about Bradley Beal that he's going to be out for a week, saying they had an MRI today and will be hopeful for that this next week goes well, and then they'll reevaluate him then. So for the Suns, they'll be without guys like obviously Bradley Beal and guys like Grayson Allen for a little bit. So that's why Colin Gillespie got the start. And that's why we saw some more of those guys getting involved in yesterday's contest. And we'll have a future video breaking down, kind of talking about the young guns and how they've really, impressed over these last couple games, because they really have stepped up. But today's video, we're, kind of looking at the coaching stuff and looking at that. So like I mentioned, for this Suns team, obviously Bradley Beal, little bit of an injury update, will be out for a weekend. For the Suns, obviously, they got some games coming up against Chicago, Cleveland, and then it's going to get obviously tougher after that, going up against some of these other Western Conference teams, the Celtics twice, and I know that the Suns definitely are going to have to be on their best if they want to make the play-in and make the playoffs, which they desperately want to do. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section on this little update, and then we can get into the next part, which goes in on the coaching stuff, which is this could actually happen. And we've heard the reports, we've heard the rumors of the coaching carousel within this Suns team really going round, and with the new update from Mike Budenholzer, from Matt Ishbia, on Mike Budenholzer from ESPN that we broke down in a recent video, which you can go check that out. We kind of talked about how Matt Ishbia believes in Mike Budenholzer, he believes in this team, but we see from Amico Hoops, from Sam Amico, that we could see that the Phoenix Suns could fire Mike Budenholzer this offseason to appease players in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. We've heard the rumors, we've heard the distractions, we've heard this talk and the drama throughout this Suns team throughout this entire season. It's been a little bit of like a soap opera in that regard, where every news has been flying around, from front office problems to head coaching problems to player problems within the fans, within the coaching staff, within everyone reacting to it. And it's just really ridiculous at this point. I've been someone that's obviously said that maybe they have to continue this coaching carousel and fire Mike Budenholzer. I've also been one to say in the past that they shouldn't fire Mike Budenholzer. And that's, the real problem and dilemma with this Suns team is, do you realistically want to do another season once again with another head coach and using that as a scapegoat, where you used it with Frank Vogel, you used it with Monty Williams, now it would be Mike Budenholzer, and bringing in someone else once again to really help this Suns team really push and compete? Or do you want to stick with Mike Budenholzer, readjust some of these players around this team, and really trust in the coach to build in a reality and culture for this squad? Now, obviously, I do think it is a little bit difficult for Mike Budenholzer to kind of stay at this point due to the fact that there has been so much commotion, and I do think not only Mike Budenholzer is going to be replaced, but some of these players are going to be traded. Obviously, maybe it's Kevin Durant, maybe it's Bradley Beal, whatever the Suns can figure out to do. I do think that the Suns obviously will move some of their rotational players, some of their guys that are on their lower ends. Some of these free agents are going to be brought back. Some people in the front office are going to be gone. There's going to be a lot of changes going on with this Suns team due to the fact that they weren't, hitting where they were projected to be. And Matt Ishbia kind of alluded to that in his ESPN article that he did with Tim McMahon, which we broke down previously on the channel, like I mentioned. So definitely go check that video to get some more updates on all of that news. But like I mentioned, Mike Budenholzer could be on the hot seat. And for the Suns, they obviously want to keep Devin Booker. They want to rebuild, retool, restructure this team around him. There's no moving off Devin Booker. He is going to be staying on this Suns team. But with looking at players like Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, those are the guys that could potentially be moved off. And Mike Budenholzer could also be another catalyst alongside those guys if they want to kind of stick in a direction and compete with some of those guys. Now, is this the right decision for the Suns? It ultimately all depends on how you view how bad Mike Budenholzer has been as a coach. When you look at Budenholzer, he's had some rotational issues. There's been a lot of injuries that have, hindered the amount of starting lineups the Suns have run out this season, which, have been an abundance of them, and, changing them up basically every single game, which doesn't help the team's, contingency and, consistency of playing with each other in these lineups. But not only added to that fact of that, but this Mike Budenholzer has had guys like benched, like guys like Bull, who was shafted throughout this majority of the season. It took a long time to figure out about him. We saw Oso Gardaro get some playing time early on alongside Ryan Dunn, and then both of them were benched, and then recently both brought back, and we've seen them really succeed with this Suns team. So clearly there's been some problems with Mike Budenholzer. This Suns roster, is better than what it is last season, top to bottom, when you look at it. And when you add Mike Budenholzer to this team, this squad should be better in the West, even if the West is stronger than last year. And unfortunately, with the, roster he was given and the rotations that he's been running with this team and the lack of defensive effort and lack of defensive bodies on the Suns roster, we have seen them obviously not been successful on that side of the floor, and it's led to the Suns ultimately having a little bit of a collapse and maybe giving Mike Budenholzer a little bit more of a bigger target on his back. But ultimately, Mike Budenholzer has been an issue with this team. Do I think he is going to get fired? I do think he eventually will this season. I think the Suns and him will part ways, and I do think the Suns will be on that coaching carousel once again, looking for their fourth head coach in 4 seasons, which is not a good recipe. But like I said, I do think there will be other changes as well going with this organization, regardless if it's Bradley Beal or Kevin Durant, with trading one of those superstars to get below the first apron, with also the Phoenix Suns looking to make possibly some front office changes as well in there, as they, have made some questionable moves over the last couple seasons in some trades. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know what you guys ultimately think. Do you think Mike Budenholzer should get fired, or do you think the Phoenix Suns should keep him for next season and really compete with him? I know a lot of Suns fans don't like Mike Budenholzer. They are very turned off on him, but we've seen this in recent years with guys like Frank Vogel, and looking back on it, Frank Vogel was a blessing in disguise. So could the Suns be saying that about Mike Budenholzer now and still be feeling that regret next season? That reality is also very likely. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, like I said, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.